The third eye, the unknown truth. Today I will take some time to speak about a subject that I am often asked about, the third eye. Indeed, the third eye is unique. It allows one to see things that cannot be seen with the physical eyes. It allows one to enter spiritual states, realms that are very hard to enter without having an activated third eye. Surely the third eye has its benefits, but these benefits are not easy to obtain. I have labeled this article "The Third Eye, the Unknown Truth" because I feel many individuals have been lied to or taken advantage of by numerous sellers when it comes to opening the third eye. I feel at times some sellers are more interested in selling an item to open the third eye without stating the true facts about third eye enhancements. Opening the third eye is far from easy. Now there will always be people who are blessed by Allah in various ways, such as being a genius, or being tall, perhaps having beautiful physical traits. And some will be blessed with an open, activated third eye, although they may not consider it a blessing. We are not all blessed with activated third eyes. For those who wish to have an activated third eye, they should be prepared to put in a good amount of work. Often people assume activating the third eye can be done with a very small amount of work. Often people assume a magical item or even perhaps an entity will open the third eye. Surely this is false. While such items can help, they absolutely cannot open the third eye on their own. Our hard work, dedication, and time are the key components for opening the third eye, not something that we have purchased. We are asking to receive a gift that a very few have. We are asking to be able to see things that are beyond our natural spiritual scope. So why do we assume we can get these gifts without any real work? Third eye mistakes. Mistakes are often made in one's third eye journey. These mistakes not only hinder one's results, but can also completely prevent the third eye from opening. Some of these mistakes are: number one, working only on the third eye. This is a very big misconception people have. Often individuals assume that if they do exercises and rituals directed only towards the third eye, it will activate the third eye. In order for the third eye to be properly activated, we need to concentrate in all the other areas of spirituality, such as chakras, because they are also affiliated with the third eye. If I was to give someone a car, but the car had no gas, nor were the keys given, how useful is this car? The same goes for the third eye. If we do not concentrate on the other areas that need to be worked on to activate our third eye, then how can we assume that by simply trying to activate the third eye on its own will provide desired results? What are these other areas that need to be worked on to properly activate the third eye? Seven chakras. First chakra, root chakra, associated with grounding, safety, and being one with yourself. All of these areas are extremely important in third eye development. If one is not happy with themselves, has a hard time moving forward, does not feel connected to anything around them, how can they see something that is already so hard to see and even at times believe the unseen world? Being one with yourself and having peace of mind is a must. Second chakra, sacral chakra, associated with emotions, control of your emotions, creativity, being connected to our sensing abilities. These are very important to have for an activated third eye. If one does not have control on how they feel or lack in controlling their emotions, then seeing something our minds are not meant to see or handle will make it very hard to have a healthy and activated third eye. One will live in doubt and not be able to distinguish the truth from false. Our emotions are who we are, and we need to be in full control of ourselves. Third chakra, solar plexus, associated with confidence, willpower, and ambitions. When one has a well activated third chakra, they have less doubt about themselves and in others. They have strong control of their emotions, have no unwanted influence in their lives. They are in full control of who they are and have a strong intuition, gut feeling, which is a key element not only in third eye development, but overall spiritual development. Fourth chakra, heart chakra, associated with compassion, love, sincerity, accepting of others and yourself. An important trait to have if one is hoping to be gifted by Allah for sight of the unseen. Fifth chakra, throat chakra, associated with communication and inner truth. This is very well related to spirituality, which is the fuel for activating one's third eye. This chakra not only benefits physical communication, but as well as spiritual communication. It allows one to speak truth of knowledge that they have obtained throughout their spiritual journey, which in multiple ways activates one's third eye. Sixth chakra, third eye chakra, the ability to see what one cannot see with their physical eyes, ability to explore the unseen world, awareness of both physical and spiritual worlds, ability to see auras and the truth in some cases. Seventh chakra, crown chakra. The crown chakra is not only the key element of overall spirituality, it is also what enhances one's third eye power and sixth sense. An activated crown chakra benefits consist of strong intuition, strong spiritual links, wisdom, higher knowledge, feeling connected to our Creator, and being one with our spiritual belief. Some may not call these chakras, some may refer to them as states of emotions, or simply call them human traits. Whatever you wish to call them, you may. But what's important is the areas I have spoken about above all serve a strong purpose not only in third eye development, but also complete spiritual development. Mistake number two, false knowledge on what the third eye can do. I have often noticed many people don't know what an activated third eye does, or they assume they do. Many individuals are also unaware if their third eye is activated or not. Usually, individuals assume an activated third eye means they can see entities, and while this may be true, it is only to a certain extent. When the third eye is open, it opens in various stages. But this does not mean once it has opened, one will see entities 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yes, there is a stage of the third eye where one can see entities at all times, but this stage is usually held by walis and saints, and they have full control over the stage. This stage is absolutely useless for individuals who seek to have an open third eye, even for high level practitioners. There is absolutely no need whatsoever to see entities 24 hours a day. Now, as ironic as it may sound, this state can also be obtained when one is possessed by a demonic entity, because now they are seeing through the eyes of the demon that has possessed them, which is forcing them to see such horrific things. This breaks down the victim emotionally and spiritually, allowing more control for the demon that has possessed them. An activated or open third eye is very simple to explain. An open third eye will allow one to see any entity they call forth when doing the amaliyat or ritual, if they in fact have succeeded in that ritual. If one already has an entity from a ritual they have performed, then an activated third eye will allow this person to see the entity when they call it, depending on the contract between the entity and practitioner. Depending on the stage of how open one's third eye is, one may be able to see an entity or catch a glimpse of an entity that may be haunting an area, or even one that individual has in his keep, such as one bound to an object. Once again, depending on the stage of one's third eye, they may also be able to see auras. Often it is assumed that if one purchases an entity that is bound to an object, they should be able to see it. I'm sorry to tell you, you are mistaken. Once again, depending on how advanced one's third eye is, they may be able to see glimpses of shadows, human-like figures from the corner of their eyes for split seconds, orbs, small lights suddenly appearing for split seconds, etc. Entities bound to an object are mostly felt and sensed depending on one's overall spirituality. Depending on the stage of one's third eye and its development and overall spirituality, they may be able to see something affiliated with their entity or the entity itself in their dreams every so often, and that is about it. If one is wanting to see an entity stand in front of them where they can not only see but also hear and talk to it, then they should concentrate on rituals and amaliyats. If one is not so wound up on seeing an entity but would like its assistance, then one may go for bound objects. In rare cases, one can see an entity bound to an object if they are familiar with the rituals and methods used to bound the entity. So upon releasing the entity, they may be able to see it. The third eye still has to be activated. If one is very spiritually gifted and has an entity in their command from previous rituals, then at times they may be able to use that entity to bring forth the entity bound to the object, but only to a certain extent. And even then, it would only be seen by a person who is doing the ritual and has an activated third eye. This is a very rare case because such a person would still need to be familiar with the methods used to bind the entity to the object in the first place. I have had cases where the entity bound to objects possessed the person who bought it, and in this case, they were able to see it and others. But this leads us back to what I spoke about earlier when I mentioned seeing entities due to possession. Third mistake when opening third eye: time and dedication. The title itself states the problem. Often people do not want to put in the work required for opening the third eye. They assume that if they spend a few minutes in meditation, and do a few exercises, this will be enough to open the third eye. Unfortunately, this is so far from the truth. If one cannot spend a good amount of time and dedicate years for opening the third eye, then they will continue to waste their time. Fourth mistake: not knowing when one's third eye has already started to open and giving up prematurely. At times, a person may spend years in third eye development but suddenly give up because they are not seeing entities as they had assumed. This goes back to the paragraph about the third eye. Number two, false knowledge on what the third eye can do. Because one is not seeing entities at all times, they assume that they are wasting their time. Inshallah, I hope this article will help people realize what an open third eye is actually capable of, and seeing entities 24/7 is nothing more than a rare case. When practitioners have an open third eye, they know this because during specific rituals they will see the entity affiliated with that ritual. Whereas if the third eye was not open and the ritual was performed correctly, they would see nothing. We have to call an entity forth before we make the call and assume our third eye is not open. And before we can call an entity forth, we need to have spent years in training on how properly to do rituals and amaliyats, because simply doing a ritual you found on the internet or book does not mean you are doing it properly, or that you have the spiritual tools needed to do the ritual. Ruhaniyat, spirituality, is the fuel needed to make rituals and amaliyats successful, and these traits develop only with time and dedication. I personally know people who have been doing rituals for 20 plus years and not a single thing has happened, and this is usually because they are not spiritually capable of doing rituals and amaliyats. Fifth mistake when opening the third eye: doubts. This relates back to chakra number 3, solar plexus. At times, an entity may show a sign, something unusual and not common, but because it may be minor, the individual would just ignore it or come up with 101 plus reasons trying to explain to themselves that what they saw or felt was normal, or just their imagination. This happens often. We may see a quick shadow, something from the corner of our eyes, a quick light flash, but instead of being appreciative, one may just start having doubts of what they just saw and start questioning it, which in the end will affect their third eye, as well as upset the entity, which will result in the entity not being active and showing any signs at all. Doubt is a serious blockage in overall spirituality. Sixth mistake: fear. Fear is also a major form of blockage that affects one's overall spirituality. Many entities will make no form of communication if they sense fear from the one who is trying to work with them. In fact, fear will push many entities away from us. Fear only benefits the entities trying to cause us harm. How well will one work with you if they feel you are afraid of them? Seventh mistake: lack in proper training. One of the key elements in opening the third eye is training. Not only training the third eye, but every aspect of spirituality that relates, enhances, and opens the third eye. A car will be useless without tires. Training the third eye and forgetting everything else affiliated with the growth of the third eye will leave your training fruitless. Mentioned above are only some of the areas we need to concentrate on when training the third eye. We need to realize that sight of a world we are not affiliated with is not easy to obtain, but if we put in the effort needed and have patience, then insha'Allah we will be rewarded with what is good for us.